Hi Wolf. Hi Safe. There are a lot of names that I cannot pronounce, and a lot of odd names that I shouldn't pronounce. Hi everyone. Alright, so again, today we will be working on our June holiday program. We will be talking about what we are offering this June holidays. So if you are a parent or a PSLE student who is looking for something to do, or you guys just want that bit of last minute booster during for PSLE during the holidays, this is the program for you. All right. Yeah, so definitely for parents and students, we understand that this is such a stressful period of time. It is the PSLE. I mean, I remember being in PSLE myself, and I remember thinking that one of the biggest issues that I faced in PSLE, one of the biggest mistakes I made was just not watching my work life balance. So I've felt very burned out immediately after PSLE and during PSLE. So I think that was one of the things that I really should have taken care of. I mean, it was a long, long, long time ago, but it was one of the biggest setbacks that I had because, yeah, it was. Oh, hi, Rachel. Right. It really was one of the biggest setbacks I had because I just was not taking care of myself. I was um I was just so prone to burnouts right after that. It kind of kick started like a very scary cycle where I would get burnouts quite easily. So I think that it's so important for students to be able to understand the importance of a work-life balance from such a young age. Okay, there can't be too much play. It can't be only work. There has to be a balance, and that's I think one of the things that we also want to help students with. I think when it comes to studying, consistency is the key. Okay, so you're not maybe some students, I've heard friends say that they do really well with last minute cramming, but I personally just don't. It just makes me burn out very easily. So definitely, especially for the younger students, um, as with what we're gonna be talking about today, we really, really do encourage this kind of crash courses or this kind of holiday program so that they are able to actually stay on task. They're always updated with new things to like study. I feel like it's such a good way to stay consistent during the holidays. Okay, but of course, students don't forget to have some bit of fun during the holidays. Okay, it's something that's super important. Okay, there is PSLE might seem really, really scary, but I promise you, after you finish your O levels, PSLE is gonna feel like the simplest thing on earth, right? So that is definitely one of the things that yeah, students, we as students, I was a student as well, we live and we learn, all right? But definitely to share more with you guys about this holiday program that we have. We're completely there for our students, okay? Our teachers understand where everyone's coming from, all right? Our teachers have been through a lot of different seasons of PSLE. They have seen students go through a lot. They have seen a lot of students, all right? They mark scripts daily. They know what's going on. So definitely, if you're a parent watching and you're just wondering, is my child going to be fine here? Do they know what they're going to be teaching my child? Yes, we will. We do. And for that, we actually do have a lot of parent testimonials to share. We also have a lot of teacher plans to share, to actually show you guys what our teachers do before a lesson, that they're not just waltzing into lesson and they are just teaching whatever comes to mind. Okay, that's not the case. We are really trying to give like the best quality to our students. That's definitely one of the things that we really focus on. So yeah, if this is something you feel like you're interested in, please do say on. All right, just join me in the live. Feel free to ask any questions. All right, just in case I don't see your question, there is that service button below. You can see it's like a little orange button with like a white arrow. And also we have our WhatsApp number here. And of course, the comment section is always open. So you can always just let me know if you have any questions at all. And yeah, I'll be happy to answer them for you. All right, but yeah, okay. This is the brochure that we have today. Okay, it's to help everyone better understand what I'm saying. So over here, you guys can see that we have a lot of different courses, not just for primary 5 and 6. Okay, we understand primary 5 and 6. You guys are going through such a stressful period of time. Okay, so we definitely have all crash courses there for you. We are definitely prepped to help you. We have everything ready. Okay, yeah, but of course, primary 3 and 4, we understand that you guys, some of you might be struggling with your mid years or actually worried ahead of time for your end years. Okay, that's completely understandable and completely normal. Okay, I completely understand that. So we also do have a fair share amount of things prepped for you. All right, so just stay and listen if you feel like you need that boost. Primary 1 and 2s, it's not talked about enough. Okay, when it comes to primary ones, when it comes to primary 1s and 2s, students are really at the start of the academic journey. So I guess it should be talked about more. Okay, it's so important for them to have that strong foundation with the academics, so that they actually feel like, you know what, this is something that I want to prioritize in my life. I'm doing well now and I want to continue doing well. Okay, this is a mindset that we would love to see in our younger students. Okay, so definitely there is value in having primary 1 and 2 classes, crash courses for students. Okay, and I know some parents might think, okay, but what is my child gonna learn? Are they just gonna come here and play? Because if they're gonna come here and play, I'd rather they play at home. Okay, it's not the same, because I'm gonna show you guys a bit more later, but you guys will definitely be able to see that we also have a lot of content stocked in for our primary 1 and 2 students. Okay, it's not just, we're not just playing. Okay, but there is a fair share of creativity, creative games, fair share of, exploration for the younger children, because we understand that maybe there is a tendency that they might have a shorter attention span, or maybe that they are interested in something else, and it's completely all right. Okay, we have things prepared for them, so really don't worry about that. All right. Okay, to start us off, we will start with the primary 5 to 6. All right. I understand that that's most parents' main concern right now. Okay, and understand. All right, so we will start with that. Okay, this one in particular, you guys can see over here. It's the brochure above me. All right. Hi. I'm gonna call you Zenor. Zenor. All right. Hi. How are you? Welcome to the live. Are you in primary 6 or in primary school by any chance? How are you today? All right, welcome to the live, and I hope you have fun. All right, but yes, this is a highly recommended 5-day holiday program. You can see the brochure up there. Okay, it is designed specially for primary 5 and 6 students preparing for the PSLE English exam. Okay, so definitely it is something that is more focused. Okay, our expert trained teachers will definitely guide your child through the essential skills and strategies to tackle the PSLE composition questions effectively. Okay, so definitely don't worry about that. Okay, to break down what your child will gain, you are in primary school. Oh, I see, I see. Which year are you? Are you in, I'm gonna guess that you're in like primary 5. Are you in primary 5? Are you in primary 5 or like primary 6? I don't know. I feel like majority of the primary school students who are on TikTok or from 5 to 6.
Yeah. But you'd be surprised that I've seen people.
I did not have a phone until I was in secondary school.
Yeah.
But I had a mini Nokia though, like a very small one, so I could play like the snakes and ladders.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I had that. So when I walk past the bus stops and I see like primary 5s, primary 4s, even 3s having phones, it feels like a culture shock. It feels like you're primary 4. You're primary 4.
As the years
Wow.
pass, like the younger they actually get.
Okay,
to own
when
phone.
we were in primary school, I realized that I felt like we would be very jealous of the students who had like the iPods. You know, the ones where they listen to
Correct.
music. We were super.
Andre.
But I had a Nokia and a Tamagotchi, like the little pet thing,
I didn't even have a Tamagotchi, but I know people are so crazy about it.
and that was about it. That was about
Yeah.
it. And yeah, because I had a Nokia to contact my parents in case of emergencies, but they did not want me going online. But then it's crazy to me that primary
You
school
say
students.
people.
Yeah, primary
Thank
4.
you.
But you know what? I also feel like the students nowadays might be a bit more like mature. They have like I don't know. I had very poor like self control when it came to like games as a kid. So definitely the Nokia was a good option. The Nokia was a very good option. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Zenor, is there anything that you need help with or anything that you're struggling with in school that maybe I can like advise you or some recommend a course to you to help you? Is there anything that you're looking for in particular? All right, I'm gonna wait for Zenor to answer. While we wait, let's go through what we have prepared. All right, so again, we have a lot stocked up in this one crash course. Okay, we do have many crash courses, but this is just one of them. All right, over here we will help unpack challenging PSLE composition questions. Okay, it might be quite tough for students to when they first start unpacking questions. Okay, because I know for a fact that as a student one of the things that I struggled with was understanding. I would receive a lot of teachers' comments, but it's sometimes a bit harder for me. Especially I remember when I was a younger student that to link it to what was exactly required of me. So definitely, it's so important for students to be able to have that experience with a teacher breaking down the questions for them so that they understand exactly what is required of them each question. Okay, so I think that's something that's super valuable, and that is definitely something that we're going to be working on with our students. We will teach your child, we'll teach students how to effectively analyze PSLE composition questions to ensure that they understand exactly what is required to craft compelling compositions and secure content marks. Okay, so content marks is really something that you do have to hit certain points, okay, for for you to get those marks. Okay, so it's definitely something that we want to break down and make things easier for students. All right, especially those who are already struggling. All right. Also, we have the PSLE composition planning skills. Okay, planning is something that is super important because, especially with composition, it is something that can either push you forward or pull you backwards. Okay, as a student. I'm going through a lot of stories of myself as a student. I'm kind of giving away what kind of student I was, but as a student, I was an overwriter. I was a student that would go a lot past the time. Okay, and we found out that one of my main issues with that was over planning. That's aside from the fact that I overwrote a lot, okay? But when it came to over planning, I would spend way too long with planning because I was very indecisive about which compo to settle with, and I was also very indecisive about what descriptions to use, and I would end up writing my composition on the planning sheet. That's basically it, right? Like massive chunks, okay? And but I wouldn't fully copy them into the composition, but at the same time it would eat up so much of my time. Okay, so I think for me the main game changer was when I was in tuition, and I had this really good teacher who was telling me, okay, you have to like break things down properly. Okay, you're not supposed to be writing your story on the planning sheet. Okay, that's not what it is. Your guidelines are supposed to help you, but you're not supposed to copy from your guidelines. So definitely it can be a one or two liner to actually give you an idea where you're gonna start this passage in, where you're gonna end this paragraph. Okay, but it should not be the entire paragraph there. And that was like mind blowing to me. So I feel like it's so important for students to have that epiphany, whether like earlier or later. So I definitely think that this is one component of the crash course that just cannot be left out. All right. So definitely we will be teaching your child or you with effective planning techniques for story retention and to create well-structured compositions. Okay, so definitely how to pace yourselves, how to structure your planning in a way that it's easy to reference but at the same time won't eat up too much of your time. So there has to be the balance, and we're there to teach you that. All right. Of course, for this, we actually have our very own writer's award technique. Okay, it's something that's quite special, and it's something that helps students to fight creative blocks, help students who struggle with planning to keep on track and deliver a composition that astounds and gets the desired results. All right. So it's called story banking. I will be going through it a bit more later on. But if this sounds like something you're interested in, stay on. All right. We go through this all the time, but I just cannot emphasize how important this is because it really solves this whole bunch of issues that students face with planning. You'd be truly surprised how many different issues can stem from like using the wrong planning techniques when it comes to composition. So definitely super important. All right. Yeah. In the meantime, please don't forget to like and subscribe to all channels across the platforms. Okay. We are on almost every platform, all right? To list it out, we're currently available on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Xiaohongshu, and LinkedIn. Okay, so definitely follow us to get updates as well as to hear the latest educational content. All right, we do post a huge amount of content that might be helpful to different groups of students. All right, including study techniques. We post synonym lists. So if students are like struggling to create that vocab bank or actually effectively support their own composition practice, there are um, chunks of content online in our blog posts and our website that you can actually take away for free. All right, so definitely it is something that you can take a look at or consider reference. Okay, whatever works for you. All right, so definitely follow us on our socials. All right, for those who just arrived, hi, I'm currently sharing what students will gain from our June PSLE composition writing crash course. All right, so again, I do want to highlight that all of this information can be found on our website for easy reference. Okay, but do comment or WhatsApp us should you have any questions. We also have the service button below here. It is the orange button with the white arrow. Okay, you can always drop us text here and we will be happy to reply. All right. To carry on, for this particular course, we also teach writing techniques and language mechanics. Okay, that is the fundamentals. All right, definitely. I've always mentioned this that no matter how good your structure is, no matter how good your content is, if you are not able to express yourself with the right techniques or language, everything's gonna fall through. Okay, so this is definitely something that has to be polished, has to be cleared up right before the exam. All right, so super important. Okay, we want to enhance your child's writing style and sentence structure using key grammar tips and creative writing techniques. Okay, so it's about writing something that astounds. Okay, it's not about writing one day I woke up, today the sun shone, today the sky was blue. Okay, those are things that teachers have seen many times in almost every single composition. Okay, it is it's almost mundane. Okay, we want something that is different, we want something that engages. Okay, to do more than just say a message. Okay, so definitely something to focus on. All right, PSLE exam strategies. Okay, this is key. Okay, we want to guide students to mastering exam smart strategies such as time management and adaptation skills to tackle any composition questions. Okay, this is super important. Okay, it is so important to be able to adapt. We talk more about that later, but the fundamental is that you're not going to be able to receive the same question every single time. You're not going to be able to receive a question that you have, you're not going to directly be able to predict what question is going to come out, so you're not going to be able to definitely plan for it. Okay, so it has to be there has to be some level of adaptation when it comes to doing exam questions. Okay, so and when it comes to time management, it is super important to be able to schedule your time when it comes to prepping your exam, practicing for your exam. Okay, I've spoken about that when I first started this live. It is so important for students to have a work-life balance. I understand that it's so tempting to just cram and just hope that you get over with it super quickly, but that's not the case. Okay, we still have months up to PSLE and you can actually get burnt out so quickly even in days if you were to just cram day and night. Okay, and that's not what we want for students. We want there to be a healthy relationship with studying, with education. Okay, so definitely it is so important to be able to schedule your time wisely, to be able to pace yourself with these kind of strategies. All right, and finally, when you're actually sitting in the exam hall, it's so important for students to be able to pace themselves so that they are able to answer and give their best answers while still being able to finish on time. Okay, you can't have one or the other. All right, you don't want to give skimpy answers and finish on time. You don't want to give very elaborate answers and just not finish on time. You need a balance. All right, so definitely these kind of exam strategies is something that I really believe that students need that exposure to. All right, expand vocab bank. Okay, we talk about this in every single one of our lives, in every single course that we have. All right, we want students to be able to master their composition phrases to elevate their writing. Okay, we will be adding 50 PSLE composition phrases to our students list and teach them these kind of phrases so that they are able to kind of beef up their writing. All right, on that note, we will also be helping students and to gain an H. Okay, we will be passing them 15 brand new exclusive model compositions, and this is something that's only available in this crash course. Okay, so it's definitely for those students who feel like they need a bit more to work with. You know, they need a bit more for reference, they need a bit more in their vocab bank. Okay, this is definitely the course for you. All right, but of course, Even if you after you take this course you feel like you need a bit more, let's say you're not free to take this course, we actually do have some ebook sales where you can purchase different sets of compositions. Okay, we do have a model compositions for primary six students, including a vocab list. Okay, so that's especially for students who prefer working by themselves. Okay, we understand that some students have those kind of study styles, and it's completely understandable. All right, so we'll be going through that in our next live. Okay, so if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, definitely come back at 4. Sit with us, just spend some time with us, and we will go through the model compositions that we have. Okay, we have that for both PSLE and O levels. Okay, so definitely enough resources for everyone. Okay, all right, bonus offer. I can't leave out the bonus offer. Okay, we will give students will receive a set of past year PSLE exam questions and top school PSLE composition questions. Okay, we'll definitely be sharing the most commonly tested topics because that is, after all, the most efficient way to study, which is to study for topics that are more likely to come up. We don't want to spend time going through we don't want to spend that much time going through a topic that has like a 1% chance of coming out. Okay, we want to spend our most amount of time with topics that are commonly tested and cover everything else. Okay, but definitely for students and parents alike, it's so important to give yourself or your child that boost. So definitely, if you're interested, feel free to sign up. Okay, more details are on the website. Questions can come into the WhatsApp group, WhatsApp chat, comment section, or in the service button, so you can just let us know if you have any questions. Right, so before some parents come over and tell me that, oh, this is just a holiday writing practice, what's the point? Okay, how much academic progress can you bring to my child in just 5 days? Okay, I'm gonna be answering those kind of comments. Okay, this isn't a holiday writing practice, it is a full-blown exam focus workshop. Okay, it is a strategy workshop, and it's something that is designed to turn average writers into confident exam ready storytellers. All right, we are here to help, and we understand if your child is struggling to prepare for PSLE English and doesn't know where to start, this might just do the trick. All right, I also understand that at this point some parents might have some doubts about the classes. All right, so I'm definitely going to show you some of the class prep that our teachers do for these compo classes so that you can take the chance to understand what your child will be taught in these 5 days. All right, all right, I'll give everyone some time to look. All right. All right, so as you can see here, our teachers really do make elaborate lesson plans in hopes of filling our lessons with as much content as possible. Okay, our teachers really do love to see our students succeed, and that is something that is reflected through testimonials and results. Okay, truly, there is really no better proof than student results when it comes to good teaching. Okay, so definitely stay tuned for student parent testimonials and for a chance to meet some of the teachers here at Writers at Work. Okay, for those that just joined, welcome. I am Jia, and I'm currently going through some of the latest crash courses and holiday programs in June, so definitely do stay and let me know if you have any questions. All right. Okay, so at this point, parents might be wondering, okay, all this said, how are their teachers? And I agree, okay? Again, a good program does not add much value if teachers can deliver, okay? That is true. All right. At Writers at Work, our team is made up of seasoned educators who live and breathe English, so that's definitely something you don't have to worry about, okay? They know the PSLE format inside out. They have marked composition scripts daily, and they have helped many PSLE students to achieve their grades, to improve their grades to achieve solid AR1s in PSLE English. Okay, so definitely reliable. Okay, for those who are still in doubt, I would like to invite some of the teachers here at Writers at Work onto the screen today to introduce themselves and give everyone an idea of what our teaching team is like here at Writers at Work. Mm, mm. All right. Sorry. Mm. All right. So that is teacher. Oh. Okay. That was teacher Wenjie. Right? All right. Let's move on. Okay. So also for those who were waiting to hear more about the story banking technique, we're here. All right. Thank you so much for staying tuned. I will now be going through this fantastic technique that has helped students solve issues with planning, lack of creativity, over and under usage of writing techniques, and much, much more. And yes, it is possible to overuse writing techniques. Okay. Um, understand that a lot of students have the misconception that using as many writing techniques is the more it's better. Okay, but like some teachers do say, I know my teachers used to say this, that it is not a buffet. All right, you don't take as much as possible. It is good to use a good amount, okay, but any more than that certain amount will be too much. Okay, now what will happen if you use too much writing techniques is that your story will start appearing very chunky. starts to feel very unnatural, and it starts to feel very forced, okay? And that's counterproductive to what we actually want when we want students to use these kind of writing techniques. Now, the main use of writing techniques for students is to sound more engaging, okay, amongst many other uses, okay? Some more engaging, some more informative, okay? These are all things that we want students to be able to do, okay? Under usage of writing techniques, however, makes your story seem very bland. It makes you seem like you're simply telling us as the audience a certain message, but you're not painting us the picture. We know what's happening, but at the same time we can't see what's happening, so there has to be that balance, okay? Now, the gist of story banking is trying, refining, and remembering. Okay, now what do I mean by this? Okay, students are led to write and refine, or to find a piece of writing that is approved by a teacher, a piece of writing that will get them great marks, and learn to replicate that piece of writing according to the given question. Okay, now Writers at Work advocates for this technique because it allows students to enter the exam with a piece that will secure them high grades, removing any further stress from exam jitters or creative blocks in the exam hall. All right. But how easy is this technique? That's a very valid question. My answer would be both easy and hard. Okay, now while this technique does make performing in an exam situation easier, it is so important for students to learn how to adapt their stories instead of regurgitating content. Okay, that is why we so heavily advocate for our compo writing crash courses. This is why we recommend it. Okay, because it not only shows students these kind of new and effective techniques, it also teaches them how to use these techniques effectively, okay? Now, regurgitating content can only bring students so far, okay? Like I said, you cannot definitively predict what is going to come out in the exam. No one can. If not, there is no point in exams. But the thing about this technique is that we're teaching students how to adapt content, okay? We're teaching them how to see a question and fill in the blanks with what they know, and actually adapt to actually answer the question accurately in a way that will definitely get them the high marks, okay? So again, it is a super effective technique that has helped a lot of our students to gain the grades they desire, whether they have issues with creative blocks, with jitters during the exam. We understand how stressful it is to sit in the exam, the silence and then just the pen scribbling. We understand that. And for me, even as a student, I know exactly how it feels to have that sudden block during the exam where you sit there and everyone's just silent. You just hear like the pen's like scribbling. And then when things get when your brain goes blank for a second, you look around you and you hear, why is the person beside me scribbling so fast? Oh my god, they know exactly what to do. I don't know what to do at all. And the stress just piles up. Okay, that is super valid, and I will never forget that kind of fear. Okay, I remember the stress, I remember the anxiety, I remember the self-comparison. I was like, oh, the other person's writing so fast. Oh my god, the other person's at like, I don't know, I hear the pages flipping. They must be at like the last few pages. I'm only in the middle of the exam. Oh my goodness. We understand that, all right? We completely understand that. Again, we try to cater to as many needs as possible, definitely, okay? So if your child is struggling with other areas of English so close to PSLE, or if your child is in lower, middle, primary and are looking for some support, fear not, we've got you as well, all right? Now, as you guys can see the brochure over here, for students primary 5 to 6 who are struggling with the English paper 2 or oral, we offer the English paper 2 plus oral crash course, the oral thematic set A crash course, and the oral thematic set B crash course. Okay, so a lot of different crash courses. Okay, for the English paper 2 plus oral crash course, students will have the chance to build confidence in oral communication and structured responses, master crucial grammar rules and techniques, improved comprehension, answering skills for closed and open-ended questions. Okay, so all of these things are very fundamental, very important, and of course very specific to any specific needs students might have. Okay, students will also get the chance to learn synthesis and transformation roles to avoid common mistakes. Again, synthesis and transformation is one of those things that students either love or hate. There's just simply no in the middle. Okay, whenever we do our TikTok lives, we always see students, they either avoid synthesis and transformation like the plague, or they just, can we just do this one? That is their mentality towards it. But unfortunately, that's not that's not the way we can go when it comes to PSLE, okay, or any other exam. You can't choose a favorite, do super well in it, and just let everything else go. Okay, that's just simply not the way. Okay, you won't, you can't do that. So definitely we want to make sure our students are all rounders in that aspect, and really be able to score the grade that they desire. All right. Okay, now for the oral thematics set A crash course, students will have the chance to master key oral exam themes. Okay, again, teams are super important because we want to spend our time as efficiently as possible, and the best way to do so is for students to study or practice something that is more likely to come out, right? We want to help students to dive deep into the most popular PSLE oral exam themes. So each day, students will explore these themes and learn how to present and discuss them confidently. Okay. Effective oral answering techniques. We want to teach your child a proven method to structure their oral responses, ensuring clear, coherent, and well organized answers. Okay, these are all things that we want to help students to work on. We want to make sure that they are not only able to develop content in a way that will get them the grades, but also deliver their content in a way that is pleasing, is engaging to the teacher. All right. Now, we also help students with oral exam strategies. Okay, we talked about strategies and how important they are. Okay, now for those who weren't here just now, okay, what I said about strategies is that strategies is something that can truly push you forward. Okay, when it comes to strategies, it can really make sure that you are always staying in the optimal state. Okay, now I would all often say to students, or honestly with myself, cramming is just does not seem like a very viable strategy. It does not seem like a strategy that is very sustainable. Okay, what I often advocate for is consistency, even though I struggle with that sometimes myself, actually a lot more than sometimes. But I think when it comes to consistency, this is something that it's definitely a strategy that we want to help students with. Okay, and of course we have specific techniques. Okay, and these are so important because it can make sure that students are always staying updated with their practice and they're never falling behind. Okay, so definitely it's something that we want to help students with. Other than that, these kind of strategies also help students to maximize their time and their score. All right. So when it comes to managing their time, it's so important to be able to be on pace on with the rest of the class, or being able to pace yourself during the exam so that you're answering the questions at just the right speed, but with the right amount of detail. Okay. You don't want super elaborate answers and not being able to finish the exam, or you don't want super skippy answers and being able to finish the exam faster than anyone else. Okay. We want both of those options are not good. We want some balance between that. We want students to give their best answers, but at the same time be able to finish. Okay, so again, pacing super important. All right. Over 10 relevant reading articles. Okay, this one's quite important. All right. We want to help your child to stay current with trending and relevant topics in the PSLE or exam. So we will be providing them with our carefully selected reading articles. Okay, a bit of emphasis on the fact that we carefully select these reading articles. Okay, so again, it is so important for students to always be up to date on their effective reading. And I always add the word effective in front of reading, is because when I say reading, I don't mean read leisurely. Okay, reading leisurely is like reading a storybook. It's about picking your favorite book and reading it, just having that nice picture and then moving on. Okay, but effective or intentional reading is not the same. It's just simply not the same. Intentional reading refers to a type of reading where you actually sit down with a pen or a highlighter and you actually annotate and learn as you go. It can mean simply by highlighting phrases that you would want to use in your own composition, or phrases that you simply don't understand, or words adding words to your vocab bank. Okay, it can be as simple as that, or it can be as complicated as breaking down every single structure and actually learning how to replicate that in a way that is beneficial to yourself. Okay, so again, for your students to do that, students really do need the resources, and it's just so much more effective if students are able to work with a resource that has been approved by a teacher. All right, so definitely when it comes to these kind of reading articles, we will be providing them to your child or you. And yeah, it really depends on what you need. All right. For students, we also want to help to expand their vocab. Okay, we will be adding over 50 essential PSLE oral exam phrases to your child or your vocab bank to empower them to articulate their thoughts more effectively. I've spoken a lot about vocab, but it is something that you see at every stage of life, whether in primary school, O level, or even now in the workforce. Okay, definitely, I have been feeling the last one a lot more okay, because the other two is a lot more blurry. But the thing that is the truth about vocab is that vocab can mean a topic specific language, and that is something that when used right will make you simply sound more informative about what you're saying, the topic you're speaking about, or it makes you sound more engaging. Okay, so these are all things that we want here in a conversation. We want some elements that we do want to see in our students conversations when they're delivering their oral answers. Okay, so it vocab is definitely something that we will be focusing on, and you can truly see that that is the case because it is present. This component is present in every single one of our crash courses, and we speak about vocab so much in our you know in our TikTok lives. So definitely you can see that it's super important to us. All right, exclusive PSLE model composition, model responses. Okay, now we want to give your child a clear idea of what high quality oral responses look like as well. So we'll be giving them a specially designed model answers for their reference. Okay, again, some students learn better with a bit of something to model with. Okay, I'm one of those students. I find it extremely hard for me to actually understand or contextualize what my teacher is saying if they're just giving me simple comments. Whereas if I was given a model composition and it was highlighted to me, or my work was highlighted to me, and I was told, okay, you're not doing this so well, you're doing something else really, really well. I digest that and absorb that a lot easier, and that is something that we want to consider when it comes to our students. Okay, it is super beneficial. It brings benefits to any type of student, depend no matter what kind of learning style you are. So definitely it is something to consider, especially with the fact that it is a specially designed model answer. Okay, so it definitely is recognized by all teachers. All right, do note that when it comes to set A and set B, they are incredibly similar, but they are really different when it comes to teams. Okay, so you guys can see like the yellow box there above me. It the teams over there are actually different between set A and set B. Okay, so really do take note of that, and you can choose the courses, the classes depending on what teams you feel like you're falling a bit behind in. All right, now this is the oral set B crash course. Okay, now when it comes to components and the things we go through, it will mostly be the same other than for the teams. Okay, but for those who just came in, I will be going through it one more time, just to make sure that everyone understands. All right. Firstly, we have the master key oral exam teams. Okay, that it will be one of our focuses. We want to help students deep dive into the most popular PSLE oral exam teams. So each day, students will be able to explore these teams and learn to present and discuss them confidently. Okay, super important. Okay, again, delivery, breaking down the question, these are all things that really can help you to move in the right direction and really up your grades, all right? Effective oral answering techniques. Okay, we want to teach your child a proven method to structure their oral responses, ensuring clear, coherent, and well organized answers. Okay, what is super important for students is for a smooth delivery. Okay, some students might have the best content in the world, but if your answers are all over the place, they are not going to have the same impact as compared to, let's say, they are structured in a way that is super effective, and there is a reason for that certain structure, right? So again, super important. Oral exam strategies. Okay, we want to provide your child with strategies that help them to navigate the exam, manage their time effectively, and maximize their score. Okay, these are all things that we really truly want for our students, and the best way to do so is, of course, a mentor. Okay, definitely for students who really do know their oral exam strategies, it is such a plus because these students start to realize that they are so much more ahead, simply because they understand how to pace themselves better, they know how to pace their time better, and at the same time, they understand exactly what is required of them during the exam. All right. Over 10 relevant reading articles. Okay, now we want to help you try to stay current with trending and relevant topics in PSLE. Now, when it comes to this aspect, students are able to generate more content. It is not only a vocab bank that they're building a content bank. So it is such a good idea for students to be able to learn to pull ideas out of relevant reading articles and use it as their own examples during the oral exam or during the composition exam. Okay, so again, super important for students to have that exposure. All right. expand your vocab. So over 50 essential PSLE oral exam phrases to add to your child's vocab bank. We want to empower them to articulate their thoughts more effectively so that they are seen as someone who is more knowledgeable, someone who is more engaging, okay? And these are two components that really can influence the final mark that you get. Okay, exclusive PSLE oral exam model response. Okay, so you want to give your child a clear idea of what a high quality oral response looks like with a specially model design. Okay, so again, it is super important for students to be able to access this kind of resources, to be open to receiving this kind of resources. Okay, because these resources are going to be what helps align the different informations in their head so that they are able to secure uh, their desired marks with a composition that they truly like. All right. Now, before I share more about the other classes for other levels, I want to show everyone some parent student testimonials and student results. Okay. Now, like I mentioned previously, there is no better proof of effective teaching and education than student results, success stories, and testimonials. All right. So again, we are super proud of all these feedback that we have been receiving, and yeah, definitely it is something that we are that deserves a brag. All right. These are some results from our students of our classes. Okay, you can see the brochure above me. Okay, but if you prefer some statistics, I also have you covered. Okay, now Writers at Work is one of the top English tuition centers in Singapore, where 90% of our PSLE cohort have since achieved AL1, and 90% of our secondary cohort 3 grades of improvement. Okay, and it's an established English tuition center since 2012. Parents and students can really be rest assured that we have the resources needed for the success you desire. English is a communicative skill. Okay, we as a center we understand that it is something that not only impacts exam results, but also a skill that we use to present ourselves in daily life. I can. All right, so okay, so moderator is a bit is out right now. We will play the teacher video in a bit, okay? But for now, let's get back to what Writers at Work will be offering this June holidays, okay? We have spoken about what we offer primary 5 and 6 students, but definitely don't mind. But definitely we don't. We have crash courses for low and mid primary students who are struggling to score in their exams and are worried about their mid or end years, okay? So definitely don't worry, all right? For students in primary 3 and 4, the mid-primary students, we currently offer the oral thematic crash course, okay, where students can learn to confidently discuss popular or exam themes, okay. Students will learn to master effective oral answering techniques, an effective approach to structuring thoughtful and meaningful responses, oral presentation strategies to help your child to organize their thoughts and improve delivery with effective presentation strategies, all right. Could we have a teacher video?
Yes. Which video again?
Any is okay.
Any is okay. Teacher is it?
Mm.
Or June holiday?
Teacher.
Teacher. Let's go with teacher Ilya.
I have to step away for a bit. It's so cold. To warm up for a little bit. All right. Now, okay, now these are things that we would like to teach our students, all right? Relevant oral topics. So, over 10 reading articles based on trending or commonly tested oral topics, okay? So, again, Patterns are so important, and I say that not only just now during primary 6 or in primary 5 crash courses, but now when we're going through primary 3 and 4 crash courses. Okay, it is something that stays consistent, and you realize that top scoring students actually do understand patterns when it comes to the kind of questions that might possibly come out during exam. Okay, so again, if you would like to get ahead of them, we definitely would recommend reading that pattern, understanding that pattern. Okay, we have teachers who understand that, and that's how we plan our crash courses. That's how we work through what kind of teams we're gonna go through with our students. Okay, these are all things that contribute to that. All right, vocab building. So we want to help students expand theoretical um, vocab with 50 thematic phrases. Okay, so it will be more of widening their vocab bank, okay, helping them to add to it, making sure that they are always on top of their game such that they are able to express themselves with something that is more engaging. All right, now, exclusive model responses. Okay, students will also receive specially designed oral exam model responses to guide their preparation. Okay, again, it is another resource. Okay, it is super important if your child is struggling to find a resource that actually benefits them. Okay, so our responses are something that can truly help students to break down the kind of questions and the requirements and something they can model after to create something of your own. All right, so again, super important. Okay, now for primary 1 and 2 students, we offer both the compo writing and beginner oral crash course. Okay, primary 1 and 2 students are at the beginning of their primary school journey, so a good foundation is absolutely important um, for a general good academic foundation and to cultivate a positive outlook. Okay, for the academics. Okay, to dive deeper into what is offered for the compo writing crash course, students will learn how to unpack composition questions. Okay, we will teach your child how to analyze composition questions and help them to understand what is required in their writing and how to craft meaningful answers. Okay, especially 1 and 2 students, primary 1 and 2 students, they might find it a bit hard to break down the questions themselves, and that's completely understandable. Okay, we want to make sure that they are always on top of their studies, and to do that, we have to make sure that they understand what's being asked of them during their paper. Okay, lower primary composition planning skills. Okay, we will guide your child to develop composition planning techniques and teach them how to structure their writing for clarity and flow. This is something that is super important, okay, because it teaches lower primary students a good foundation in planning that they will need in their further studies. Okay, when you're talking about writing, it is not something that just ends at primary 1 or 2 or 3 and 4 or 5 and 6. Okay, it is something that stays important even through the entire life. I remember when I first finished my writing exam when I was in high school, I looked at my teacher and I said to him, I never want to see another essay in my life again. And he looked at me and he said, sure, you're going to uni, right? Okay, sure. That's what he said to me. And that is something that really made me think that it is writing is something that never truly ends. And that is why it's such an important skill for students to pick up at such a young age. I will never forget that, Joe, because the way he looked at me was like, sure, you can think that it's gonna end, but it's not gonna end. So definitely it is something that students should work on. All right. Okay, writing techniques and language mechanics. Okay, through grammar focused lessons, your child will strengthen their writing style, sentence structure, and overall language mechanics. Okay, again, something that's super important. We really are trying to pack as much as we can. So I'm saying super important for every single section because it is, all right? Especially for 1 and 2 students, I've talked about how writing techniques is the basis, all right? No matter how good your content is, no matter how great your structure is, if you're not expressing yourself in a way that your teachers or your peers understand, everything else falls through. Okay, so when it comes to writing techniques and language mechanics, it is something that we truly put emphasis on. We want to make sure that students are able to really deliver. Okay, so through grammar focused lessons, we will really help your child or you to I really don't think any students with at primary 1 will be using TikTok. I don't know. Maybe I would be surprised. All right. But through grammar focused lessons, your child will strengthen their language style, sentence structure, and overall language mechanics. So it is definitely something to look forward to. All right. expand vocab bank, all right? Expand vocab bank. With over 30 composition phrases, your child will enhance their writing with rich vocab, helping them to express ideas more clearly and creatively. Okay, again, vocab bank is such an important thing. Okay, and it's something that requires building. Okay, it is not it's not a certain thing where you suddenly just jump from one to another, where you suddenly become you go from being really poor at vocab, having limited vocab, to suddenly being extremely good with vocab. That's not how it works. It's something that requires a bit of building, and that's why we want to give students a good foundation. We want them to have the basic vocab list so that they are able to use this vocab to actually build onto more sophisticated vocab that can put them ahead of their peers and actually make them engaging speakers who sound informative, like they know what they are saying. Okay, someone who can actually actively convince a teacher, someone who can actually deliver the content that they want to during their oral exams. Okay, so for this, we will be helping students and delivering 30 compositional phrases such that we will be able to enhance their writing with rich vocab, helping them to express ideas more clearly and creatively. All right. Now, master three writers at work model compositions. Super important. Okay, your child will learn to craft engaging compositions by studying three unique writers at work model compositions, and this is something that's exclusive to this holiday program. Now, when it comes to having a model composition to work with, I've explained that it is super important for students to have that basis to replicate, to break down, and to understand by themselves. Okay, we always when we're studying, we always want to have a teacher. We always want to have something to model against, and it's no different when it comes to compositions. Okay, except with lower primary students, it might be easier for them to pick up something when it is shown to them that this is exactly what you want from them. Okay, so definitely this is one of the teaching methods that we're going with. Okay, we will be helping students to master tree writers at work model compositions, and yeah, it is really something that we're looking forward to. It is something that we truly recommend for our students. All right. Okay, now this is the super important one. This is actually one of the most exciting ones. Okay, I personally feel that because
Valerie,
yeah.
can I
Mm,
cut the live in TikTok and reopen it again?
sure, sure. Is it because it's very blurry?
It's because when we played a video earlier, an error showed.
Oh,
It restricted because of unoriginal content. It probably because we're playing a video. So we restricted the content, the viewership went down. I think you noticed that. Yeah. The
it
viewership
went
went down.
up.
Yeah, yeah. It went down the moment they restricted it. So let's do it again.
Okay, okay, sure, definitely.
I'm gonna go live again.
Oh, that happens, but this is our own content. Why does this happen?
Correct. So I think maybe because they just detected that we're playing something. That's about it.
Is it because of
Yeah.
the audio? Is it because of the audio? The editing style actually matters when it comes to this.
Possibly.
Because
but
if you're using like audio that you downloaded from somewhere else, it can be flagged as someone else's content.
correct, possible. So it did not appear in every single video. So perhaps I've not played that first video earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Because
when
this
I-
has never happened like previously with video playing, right?
Correct. It happened to me once only, but not to all videos. It only happened once.
Oh,
that's why
okay.
you didn't see.
I see. All right. Hi everyone. Welcome. But then we would have to.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go back.
All right.
But we are still ongoing with, with Facebook and YouTube.
Okay. Okay. Great. Hi everyone. We had a bit of technical issues. All right. We have a bit of technical issues. Okay. Okay. I was just talking about the very exciting crash course that we're going to be talking about for primary 1 and 2 students. Okay, when it comes to primary 1 and 2 students, like I mentioned before, it is really the best time to set up a foundation. Okay, primary 1 and 2 students is where everyone is super wide-eyed. Okay, I remember being a primary 1 and 2 student, even though it was a long time ago. I remember being a primary 1 student and just being so excited to, it's really one of the best times to introduce students to learning. Okay, I remember how excited I was to see 100 like marks, like full marks on my paper. Okay, I remember how that feels. Um, it's simply not the same to when you are doing assessment books at home and you are seeing your parent telling you that you're doing a great job. It's just not the same. It's Yeah, it's completely not the same. When you're doing assessment books at home, your parent can give you full marks and you just feel really, really happy. But when the moment you see your teacher give you that 100, that 100, that A plus, and the fact that you're able to bring that back to your parent and say, look, I got this grade, it is something that truly makes you so confident. And I feel like um, it is incredibly important to build that foundation for your child. Um, so that they are able to feel that sense of achievement with the academics and able to become more proactive in achieving that result for themselves, okay? Because after all, it becomes a lot harder to force your child to maybe do assessment books, to do practice when they reach a certain age. They become more rigid, they become more stubborn, okay? That is just unfortunately the case because I was that child, okay? So I completely understand. I was that child. um but yes, so I believe when it comes to and it's actually a true thing that when it comes to primary one and two students that we should give them more emphasis and actually help them to cultivate a sense of pride when it comes to achieving good academic results. Okay, that is something that is so important. All right, but of course we have to respect what they want. We shouldn't overly force them. Okay, we also have to teach them to have fun, teach them that it's okay that even if they're not doing well this time, we can teach them that you can do better next time. Okay, so again, it is a lot about encouragement, all right, and of course respecting what they like. Okay, so of course, okay, I derailed a bit over here. But for this oral crash course, students will be working with something that is a little bit more adventure based. Okay, that is something that is truly exciting because we really want to cater for students who are just looking at fun during the holidays, but their parents want them to learn. Okay, we don't want students to just come in and then they're just all upset. They just don't want to be here. But this is something that is fun. This is something that we have created purposefully for primary one and two students. All right, it is an exciting adventure called Who Stole the Dragon's Egg. Okay, for this, students will gain confidence in speaking. It is considered a 3-day interactive oral program and is designed for primary one and two students. Okay, it is focused on strengthening oral communication, reading fluency, and vocab through storytelling and creative activities. Okay, over here, your child will become a young detective solving the mystery of a stolen dragon's egg while learning key oral communication skills. Okay, so it's 3 days, like I mentioned. Okay, day one will be the friendly fairy. Students will be able to focus on pronunciation, articulation, and enunciation. Okay, these things are so important when it comes to building a strong foundation for your child to be able to speak clearly and accurately. Okay, again, delivery goes a long way. Okay, delivery truly goes a long way because it can affect how well other people understand your child. Okay, so no matter what message you're delivering, your tone, your expressions, your the way you articulate yourself, these are all things that can truly determine how the message is received. And of course, that is why this is something that we want to help students to build a strong foundation in. All right. All right. Day two is called the Wise Wizard. Okay. We want to help students to improve rhythm, fluency, and to help students to speak with a smooth, natural flow. Okay. Of course, we want students to be able to be proud of the way they speak, to be able to be confident, to for everything to be natural and not sound very, very forced. Okay. So we will be focusing on that when it comes to day two. Day three will be the Grumpy Goblin. Okay. We want to help students to enhance expressiveness, intonation, and emotion to bring speech to life with feeling and tone. Again, would you rather hear someone who's speaking monotonically and sound very, very tired like this and not really, really clear in the way they speak, or someone who is very open, very confident in the way they speak? Okay, definitely it will be the latter. Okay, and that is something that we want to make sure your child has a foundation in. We want to make sure that they are able to speak with expressiveness. Okay, because expressiveness is something that can seriously determine how engaging a person is when they speak, and that is something that is looked at when it comes to PSLE oral or O level oral. Okay, or even later on in your work life. Okay, it is something, engagement is something that is so important, and expressiveness is something that is so linked to it. Okay, so it's definitely something that we want to focus on. All right, now to break down what your child will gain. Okay, students will be able to master oral communication, speak with clearly with confidence and proper tone. Okay, super important. Improve reading fluency, to strengthen pronunciation and expressive reading, okay? Expand vocab, learn new words, describe characters and emotions. And really, what better way is there to learn vocab, to expand your vocab when it comes to learning then with a character or with an adventure-based story where everyone there's always something going on, new emotions, new feelings, new facial expressions. Okay, these are all things that it's such integrated learning. It's such a good way to help students to learn in a natural way. All right, enhance creativity, to use voice, facial expressions, and gestures to tell engaging story. These are all things that can really heighten the engagement levels. And again, what better way to learn than with an adventure based story, all right? So definitely something to focus on, okay? Solve the mystery, okay? Follow clues each day to uncover who stole the dragon's egg, okay? This will be the students' prime focus. Solve the mystery, okay? But definitely we have to give them a bit of what they want. Students want that bit of fun. We definitely will provide it as well. But of course, we will be teaching them the academic content that they need to really level up when it comes to going back to school. Yeah, so this is truly a great program when it comes to primary 1 and 2 students who are looking for that level up, all right? Of course, we understand that parents have a very busy schedule. Okay, if you can't make it this June holidays, we also have upcoming crash courses arranged for future school holidays. So definitely just drop us a follow on any of our platforms and wait for the updates on holiday programs. Okay, so now currently we're available on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Xiaohongshu. Okay, so definitely remember to subscribe and like our posts. Okay, we do have fresh batches of educational content all the time. And when I say educational content, I mean content like synonym lists. Okay, if students are struggling with their vocab banks, they can always take from our content and build it by themselves. Content such as study strategies. These are all things that you can pick up for free from our website. Okay, as well as to stay updated to any new programs that might possibly be there and whatever activities that we have here at Redis at work. All right. So definitely remember that consistency is key, okay? Especially in learning, and that students will really observe more effective learning from consistent classes, okay? So our classes and materials will also be different during each holiday session. So definitely don't be afraid about your child being put through the same class twice. If you have been here to the March holidays crash course and you think, should I come for the June crash course? My child might be learning the same thing. They will not be learning the same thing. Okay, I can tell you here, they're not gonna be learning the same thing. Okay, so again, consistency. Okay, and crash courses are such a great way to fill in the gaps between holidays, because when it comes to holidays, students are having that gap between terms, and it's so easy for them to just get carried away with having fun that they just lose the momentum when it comes to studying. And especially now that we're a few months away from PSLE, it's an incredibly stressful time that makes students feel more um they want to have fun, okay? And it's so easy to say, you know what, having fun is more important, okay? But we definitely don't want that. We want them to keep consistent, to stay in the momentum, okay? So crash courses are definitely something that we would say is super important. Okay, finally, teachers. Okay, teachers are super important in the journey of education. Okay, a good teacher can truly bring a student further. It can help student to gain confidence. Okay, but after all, we understand that some parents are really worried when it comes to choosing a tuition center or choosing like a teacher to coach their child, that they believe that a good program doesn't add much value if teachers can deliver, and that is true. Okay, but here at Writers at Work, our team is made up of seasoned educators. We have teachers who know the PSLE format inside out. Our teachers mark composition scripts daily, and they have helped many PSLE students improve their grades to achieve solid AR1s in PSLE English. Okay, so definitely our teachers are more than ready to help your child, to help our students to succeed. Okay, but of course, for those students who are still in doubt, I would like to invite some of the teachers here at Writers at Work onto the screen today to introduce themselves to everyone and give parents and students alike an idea of what the teaching team is like here at Writers at Work. Could we have teacher Xiao Wei, please?
It showed the error showed again.
Oh, is it a system thing today?
Yeah, I think they're kind of a bit. I'm gonna pause the video because you have 60 viewers and it's going down. Yeah. So let's continue. Take a break in 10 minutes then.
Okay. Oh, so we can't play the video anymore.
Yeah, because the error appears when I play a video.
Oh,
And
okay.
then you start restricting.
Okay, I see. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So here at this point, I do want to check in with parents and PSLE students. Okay. Any show of hands, how many parents of PSLE students are here? What are your main stressors at the moment? Okay, I know that parents have very varied stresses right now. Okay, um, understandable. Okay, I remember when I was a PSLE student that super long ago, but my parents will always bring this up whenever I'm having a hardship. That they say, "Remember how you struggled in PSLE? Yeah, you did that, so you can, you have the ability to work through whatever issues that you have." Okay, so again, PSLE is such a milestone. It's one of the first biggest milestone that your child will go through in their lives, and it's so understandable that parents especially are stressed out. Okay, after all, as parents, we you all just want the best for your child. Okay, and that's, we understand that. Okay, so definitely do let us know in the comments if you have anything particular that is stressing you out. Okay, um your child's academics. Okay, PSLE students, feel free to also drop into the comment section and let us know if there's anything in particular that stresses you out. Okay, whether it be composition, certain comments that you're getting from your teacher about your work, or at this moment of time, maybe that you're feeling a bit burnt out. Okay, these are all things that are very very normal. Okay, so definitely I want to be able to be here to validate these parents and students. Okay, whatever you guys are facing, it is understandable, it is normal, and I am very very sure that there will be people who are facing the same thing. Okay, if you're facing issues with composition, trust me, we have students here in the tuition center, even in our TikTok live streams, telling us that I struggle with this, I struggle with that. That's normal. Okay, for parents, your child maybe doesn't really want to study, your child's a bit burnt out. Okay, these are all things that are normal. Okay, these are things that I trust that maybe you have experienced sometime yourself as a student. Right? I have definitely experienced that, and when I remember speaking to my parents about it, my friends about it, it is such a common issue to have. So definitely there is a way around it. We're definitely here to help. Okay, so yeah, so we are definitely here. All right, but for parents, I do want to pick on certain comments that you might have been receiving from teachers, especially like maybe you're looking for your child's work, you see certain comments that are troubling you, and I just want to list out a few comments, and maybe you can drop into the comment section and tell me if you've heard any of these comments before, and maybe we can think of a way of how to solve it together. All right, all right. I want to target this to composition, okay, because this is one of the things that I teach on TikTok lives. So I'm really more in touch with what our students are saying over here, especially on this platform. Okay, so I just want to check if your children are going through the same thing. Okay, now, does your child struggle to come up with strong story ideas? Maybe they are receiving comments like saying weak storyline, weak story plot, story is not flowing. Okay, or maybe your child is not being able to finish your story on time, and teachers are starting to write that need better time management. Okay, that's a comment. That's a very very common comment. Okay, parents, you guys can let me know if you guys see that in your on your child's papers, or your child is getting comment from teachers like weak climax, or story doesn't flow, or actually the worst comment ever is off topic. Okay, I have received quite a few when I was in PSLE, like the prelims especially. I remember it was so stressful because that shows that you're on the wrong track. Okay, and that can be something that is very it really takes that motivation away from you, especially for students who really you are in that moment. Maybe you hear your parents are stressed, and that makes you even more stressed. Okay, these are all things that are super super normal. Okay, so yeah, we're here. Okay, But if you said yes to any of that, then definitely stay because we do have some solutions here for you as a tuition center that has been helping students through PSLE for quite some time. All right, we definitely do have our solutions. All right, we have okay, I want to fast forward and go through our story banking technique. Okay, we have gone through it quite a couple times, but for those who just joined, welcome. I'm Jia. I am currently going through our story banking technique because I am so certain that there are definitely parents out there or students out there who are prepping for PSLE and they're feeling, oh my god, time is up, time is up. We have a few months away, but I have this array of issues with my composition and I don't know what to do. Okay, again, first things first, I want to validate you. I want to let you know it's incredibly common. There's you might be worried now and it's understandable, okay? But definitely be nice to yourself, okay? We do have there is definitely a way out, okay? And this is one of the ways that I'm going to be going through with you now, okay? Okay. First method that we have is story banking. Okay. Now, for those who are waiting to hear more about the story banking techniques, all right, I will now be going through a technique that has helped students to solve issues with planning, lack of creativity, over and under usage of writing techniques, and much, much more. Okay, it is an issue. Overuse of writing techniques makes your story sound chunky. That is unfortunately the truth. There has to be a balance. There is no clear cut. Okay, and under usage of writing techniques makes your story sound very bland. It's like over watered down carbonara. Okay, I'm not even sure if you're using butter in carbonara, but you get my point. All right. Now, the gist of story banking is trying, refining, and remembering. Okay, now what do I mean by this? What we at Writers at Work, we teach students this story banking technique, and students are led to write and refine or to find a piece of writing that is approved by a teacher, a piece of writing that will get them great marks, and learn to replicate that piece of writing according to the given question. Okay, now Writers at Work really advocates for this technique because it allows students to enter the exam with a piece that will secure them high grades and remove any further stress from the exam jitters or creative blocks in the exam hall. Okay, so we completely understand that students are super stressed out, okay, when they actually enter the exam, and that's completely fine. It is understandable. Okay, but yeah, we have this technique and it has helped some students before, so definitely give it a try. All right. But of course, at this point, some parents might be thinking, isn't that just like regurgitating content? So you're asking my child to memorize an entire composition? That is not what I'm saying. All right, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying regurgitating content because regurgitating content can truly only bring students so far, okay? But the ability to adapt content as we are trying to teach our students can really allow them to jump their grades in ways they can't imagine, all right? So essentially, students will be adapting a piece that they understand will get them good grades. So it can, when I say a piece, it can be so much as to a story plot, okay, entire story plot, or let's say even a paragraph of very refined wording, very sophisticated vocab that teachers are saying, this is awesome, this is great. And they are just adapting it bit by bit. Like, let's say I'm starting a composition in my tuition center and I'm writing about today was a super rainy day. The sky was blue. So it was kind of hinting that something good was going to happen. So I can reuse my description of bright, beautiful sky in a day of a sunny morning. Okay, so I need a description for a sunny morning, and I'm using this during the exam. Okay, so I already have a bit of a guideline, so I can surround my introduction around a description. Okay, there are many ways to start a story, and I can just use this very refined piece that I have previously done. I just take away the parts about it raining, and then I have my introduction. So just throwing bits and pieces here alongside a refined piece that you already know will do well, right? So that's just one way. Of course, there are a lot of different ways to use story banking, okay? But the gist of it is definitely to be able to adapt something that you are sure of, okay? That is something that we're trying to teach our students. But question, how easy is this technique? Okay, that's a very valid question. Okay, we don't want to teach the students that some very super sophisticated technique that they require a formula, okay, to use during the exam. Okay, that is just we'll leave the stress to the other subjects, to math and science, where they need the formulas. Okay, we want students to have that level of we want them to be able to adapt. All right. Now, my answer to this question would be both easy and hard. Okay, now while this technique does make performing in an exam situation easier, it is so important for students to learn how to adapt their stories instead of regurgitating content. Okay, that's why our combo crash courses are something that we really advocate for. Okay, now hear me out, because our crash courses not only show new and effective techniques to these students, but they also teach them how to more effectively incorporate these techniques into their own writing. Okay, so again, something that we really, really work advocate for. Okay, well, we cannot play videos, right?
Yes.
Yes, we cannot play videos. All right. It's all right. Okay. So we have a bit of technical issues. I would love to play some videos to introduce our teachers, but unfortunately, we're not allowed to today. Okay. Instead, I will be showing some lesson plans that have been made by our teachers. Okay. So some parents might think, okay, your teachers, how good are they? Okay. So do they just, you know, some parents worry that our teachers just waltz into class. They don't do any prep. They just say whatever's coming to their mind. And I can assure you that that's not the case. Okay, our teachers do lesson prep. Our teachers try to make elaborate lesson plans in hopes of filling our lessons with as much content as possible. Okay, if you see our crash courses, you can see that our courses are truly stacked. Okay, they are really beefed up to the absolute max. There is so much. Okay, there's so much content. There is so much strategy. Okay, there's so much practice. Okay, so definitely you can see that our teachers truly love to see our students succeed, and that is something that is not only shown through testimonials. It is something that can be seen through results. Okay, since videos are apparently not an option today, we will show you guys some lesson plans. My bad, lesson plans as well as student results. Okay, yeah, there is really no better proof than student results when it comes to good education and good teaching. Okay, so definitely, yeah, take a look. All right, so over here we have our teacher lesson plans. You can take a look. You can see that there is a lot of like I said, we really stack our lessons as much as we can. We really want to beef it up. Okay, um, it's just these are the front covers of the teacher's booklet, so you can already see that there's a lot of lessons. The teachers are essentially going in with a script. They know what they want to teach their students. They are there to help. Okay, they are not just going in for the sake of answering just accomplishing that one crash course. That's not what it is. All right, let's move on to right there we are. Okay, now over here you can see these are some student results. Okay, like I mentioned previously, there's really no better proof of effective education than student results. Okay, so these are results our students obtained after our classes. So this is something that we are really, really proud of. Okay, because as you can see here, we have Townend Primary School and we have the Alexandra Primary School. So you can actually see that our students did super well in these papers. And even now that I'm going through this, I'm actually so proud of our students. Full marks is not something to be overlooked. Okay, just because you got full marks a couple of times doesn't mean it's anything less to be celebrated. And in this case, we are super proud that our students are able to get these grades after taking our classes. It really it makes it makes everything worth it. It really makes everything feel worth it. All right. So but definitely for parents, if you prefer some statistics, I also have you covered. Okay. Now, Writers@Work is actually one of the top English tuition centers in Singapore. Okay, I'm not just saying that. I have stats for you. Okay, 90% of our PSLE cohort has actually since achieved AL 1 to 4, and 90% of the secondary school cohort 3 grades of improvement. So that's actually a lot, a huge jump, right? So, as an established English tuition center since 2012, parents and students can rest assured that we really do have all the resources. Okay, we have been here since 2012. We definitely have all the resources. Okay, needed for the success you desire. All right. So English is a communicative skill. Okay, and it is something that not only impacts exam results but also the way we present ourselves at every stage of life. It is something that we are passionate about, something that we understand has an impact on our students, something that can essentially change the direction in which they're going. Okay, it is something that is needed in no matter what you do, whether you're giving a presentation about work, whether you're expressing yourself in a letter, or even expressing yourself in a social setting. It is something that will stay prominent, something that will stay important. Okay, so definitely something we're going through. It's 4. Do we have to end? Right, but of course this life has to come to an end because we will be moving on to our next section, which is our ebooks. All right, so we have our PSLE model ebooks and our secondary school model ebooks. Okay, so definitely do come online, check us out. All right, so we will be here. Remember to tune in. All right, bye everyone.